श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां भिषजे भवरोगिणां निधे सर्वविद्यानां श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभः निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्यैः सर्वदा। शुक्लां भरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। व्यासम् अष्टनप्तहरं शक्तेः पौत्रमकल्मषं पराशरात्मजं वन्दे जगदातं तपोनिधिं। व्यासाय विष्णुरूपाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे नमो वै ब्रह्मणदेवासिष्ठाय नमो नमः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। Previously responding to Dhritarashtra's questions on how Bhishma was killed, how was he, how everyone protected him, what happened and what happened after his death, how did Duryodhana and others react, how did Pandavas attack, and he asked all those many questions to Sanjay. Sanjay was responding and he was saying Kurus and everybody were preparing, and every day Bhishma and Drona used to wake up and they wish for Pandavas victory. Even though they used to fight for Duryodhana, they were wishing for Pandavas victory, and then we continue from there. So the army, both sides were preparing. So Bhishma, with his standard flagstaff and everything, chariot and everything ready, he was looked like Surya himself coming from there. And again, on his sides, there were King Shaibya from Govasanas. He was there protecting Bhishma. And then Ashwatthama, who was leading again from front, and his had his flag had a lion's tail as the in his flag in his standard, and Shritayuda, Chitrasena, Purumitra, Vivinchati, Shalya, Bhurishravas, and then Vikarna. These seven were protecting along with the Ashwatthama. They were in advance of Bhishma. And then Drona was there, and with his standard, which had a kamandalu with a bow in it, and Drona along with him. Then Duryodhana was with many hundreds and thousands of elephants around him. He was preparing, and then Pauravas, Kalinga, and then all those took their rathas in front of Duryodhana. So, like this large force from the eastern sides, Magadhas, all of them as well, along with Karna's son Vrishaketu, Kripa, all these were again preparing. Jayadratha as well, coming stationed at the front of that army, preparing for him in this battle. So, like this, hundreds of thousands of chariots, 8,000 elephants, 60,000 foot soldiers, all this in Jayadratha's command. All of them were prepared for fighting for Duryodhana. And also similarly, there are 60,000 chariots and then 10,000 elephants. All those from Kalinga, they're protected by, accompanied by their king Ketumat. They were there. Those elephants again looking like huge size and looking like a hill. They were preparing, and all those Kalinga army that was protecting. And then there was Bhagadatta, who had again large army, including elephants and others, that's coming there, along with two princes from Avanti, Vinda and Anuvinda were there. So along with Bhagadatta, who were equal to Bhagadatta, they were coming along with Ketumat, they were following that. So the vyuhas or the arrays that's formed by Drona and Bhishma, and then Ashwatthama, that had Ashwatthama, Balika, Kripa, and that Kaurava vyuha looked many divisions of chariots and elephants and everything prepared like that to face the Pandavas. So that again, that vyuha looked like very fierce, and it's very impossible for anyone to penetrate and destroy. So soon after that, very loud shouts came through, and all the warriors and everyone prepared, elephants, horses, everything started moving with those cartwheels and everything. It became a huge, started making a huge sound and dust started coming through. So all the troops, Duryodhana's side and Pandava's side, both they started because of that started trembling. The standards and flags on both sides of theirs look like Indra's mansion. It's such a huge thing with all the warriors with gold cases, protection, and everything looking like it was blazing it in the morning. It looked very beautiful. Then there are also among Duryodhana's and his brothers, Duryodhana's brothers, from behind Bhishma, Dushasana, Durvisaha, Durmukha, Dussaha, Vingsati, Chitrasena, Vikarna, Satyavrata, Purumitra, Jaya, Bhurishrava, Sala, and then 20,000 charioteers, Rathis, Abhisaha, Surasena, Sibis, Vasatis, Shalvas, Matsyas, Ambatsas, Trigartas, Kekas, Sauviras, Kiragatas, all these Kitavas, all these and eastern, western, northern countries, armies that came, all these came there and all of them were protecting Bhishma, but Bhishma was leading that army. And then again, divisions from Magadha, large numbers of army was as well was there. So like that 11 Akshoni army of Duryodhana looked like a Ganda separated from Yamuna, so it is such a huge army. And then Dhritarashtra asks Sanjaya, listening to this, seeing that 11 Akshawani army arrayed in that battle, how did Yudhishthira, what did he make out of that numbers? And how did he prepare his vyuha counter array against Bhishma? How did he do that? Because again, Bhishma, who is very familiar with all the vyuhas that formed by humans, devatas, gandharvas, asuras, and everything. So Bhishma had all those knowledge. So how did Yudhishthira counter that? So Sanjaya starts continuing his narration. He says that seeing that Dhritarashtra's, that is the Kauravas, have arranged in the battlefield, Yudhishthira looking at that, he asks Arjuna and he says to Arjuna that in this word, uh, people say that Brihaspati is the one who made few people, he made few people fight by condensing them, coming together and saying very close to each other. They fought the battle. In an encounter when few fight with many, the array that forms should be needle mouth. So that means very easy to, very focused and coming together. So it is not spread across in different places. So everybody coming together and then penetrating into enemy's army. So that's what Brihaspati used to say. So our troops are small, less in number compared to Kauravas. So that's why, keeping in this in mind, you prepare the vyuha for array for our troops. So that's what Yudhishthira asked Arjuna. So hearing this, Arjuna answers Yudhishthira saying that this the army, the vyuha known as Vajra, which is similar to Indra's Vajra itself, Vajra weapon itself. So that's invincible array is one that I will make for you. And when that array is, and he says that in that array, because Vajra is diamond. Okay, so literal meaning is diamond. So with that pointy edge, so we'll penetrate like that. So in that very front, you're going to have the best warrior, Bhima, in front of that, and he will lead that fight, and he will destroy entire people army that's coming in front of him. So he will be very hostile to warriors on Duryodhana's side, and they will retreat in panic when this Bhima goes in facing them. They will start seeking shelter wherever they can, escaping from Bhima. So that's why we will have Rukodara, Bhima in that when he's angry and is in that front of that Vajra array, nobody can face. So Arjuna suggests that vyuha and that array for to face the Kauravas in this battle, in this first day. So having said that, Arjuna again did arrange that vyuha. Again, what we have to remember here is this is 11 Akshayani versus 7 Akshayani army. And I think very beginning I said you cannot fit entire number of elephants, horses, and people, everybody, not just those fighting, but those who are looking after and those who are blowing trumpets and drums and all those kind of things, and the looking after anybody removing the dead people and things like that. All those people you cannot fit in Kurukshetra, that battlefield itself. Okay, so what we are saying is in that main Kurukshetra, where the battle is taking place with these prominent people, this is the vyuha and this is the area they are fighting. And even where outside as well, Yudhishthira, as Yudhishthira suggested, people are going in a condensed form to attack Kauravas. So Arjuna prepares that army like that. So then again, the Pandavas, seeing the Kuru army move, they again the Pandavas and Kauravas, they move quickly. Bhima, Drishtadyumna, Nakula, Sahadeva, and Drishtaketu, all these, along with Virata, all of them start coming into that, starting protecting Bhima from behind. So then the Nakula, Sahadeva, again, they became the protector on Bhima's both sides, and then Draupadi's sons Abhimanyu, they protected him from behind. So again, we have to imagine. So there is one main person who is fighting, and behind sides of him there will be protection. So that army, the enemies do not come and attack from sides. So he will be focusing on front. So and also behind there will be protection, so that if something happens to the people on the side and things like that, they will protect, and also anybody coming from behind. So here from behind, Draupadi's sons and Abhimanyu, they protected. And then Drishtadyumna, along with Prabhakara, so that's his Panchala's tribe army, Prabhakara's, then that tribe, they were also from behind. So again, behind him was Shikandini. So behind Drishtadyumna was Shikandini, and he was protected by Arjuna. So Shikandini was protected by Arjuna, and behind Arjuna was Satyaki. Satyaki's another name is Yudhana. So again, you will hear this name again and again in the next Bhishma, Drona, all the Parvas. So upcoming war, entire battle, you will hear Satyaki's name. Satyaki's another name is Yudhana. So Satyaki was there, and then two sons of Drupada, Yudhamanyu and Uttamaojas, they were protecting Arjuna from both sides. So Arjuna was protecting Shikandini. Arjuna himself was, both sides were protected by Yudhamanyu and Uttamaojas. Again, these names, whenever we look at Arjuna having battles, you hear these names, Yudhamanyu and Uttamaojas, and then Satyaki as well behind him. So again, what we need to remember is Satyaki is Arjuna's Shishya. Okay, so he learned all the weapons and everything from Arjuna. So Arjuna is his guru as well. So Satyaki is protecting behind Arjuna, and the Uttamaojas, Yudhamanyu on his side. So then, along with Keka brothers, they were there, and Drishtaketu, Chekitana, they were also there protecting. So then Arjuna says that this Bhima, when he is wielding his mace, which is made of hardest metal, and moving like in that battlefield with that great speed, he can even dry up the ocean. So he can destroy the entire army in that. So they also, again, the whoever is on the Dhritarashtra side, they are looking at that. They will be very frightened by this Bhima. So that's what Yudhishthira says, pointing at Bhima, who was leading that Vajravyuha from the front. So like this, King Yudhishthira took up his position in the center of that army, surrounded by huge, ferocious elephants. And then Drupada was there. He was stationed himself behind Virata with an Akshayani of troops for Pandavas, protecting Pandavas. And then there are also other warriors. So all of them were protecting Virata and others. So like this, those kings, they made their move, and then Drishtadyumna, accompanied by his brothers and sons, protected Yudhishthira again from behind. So this like this, so huge standards of all the chariots, and on Pandava's side, entire thing was covered by that uh, gigantic uh, Vanara, ape on Arjuna's chariot. So again, if we remember, go back to Vanaparva, when Bhima met Hanuman, right? So Hanuman was requested by Bhima that he should come and help in this battle, right? So when the battle happens with Kauravas. So Hanuman, Anjaneya, is there in that gigantic form, protecting that flag, Arjuna's flag, and that uh, Hanuman's uh, vision, or his form, was protecting entire, spreading across entire Pandava army. So it is not just on Arjuna's chariot, that flagstaff and that Hanuman's uh, form was spreading across everything. So entire Pandava's army was covered by that flagstaff. So like this, all the thousands of elephants with fully prepared for this battle and very ferocious. All of them were moving like there. So all this army assembled and everything was prepared. So Pandavas and Kauravas, both sides, they were prepared in Kurukshetra, and both armies stood there waiting for the sunrise. So imagine, just before the sunrise, all the armies come together, prepared, and they're just waiting for the sunrise, because as per the rules agreed previously, the battle happens only between sunrise and sunset, right? So during darkness, no battle takes place. So they were preparing for that, and then again at that time dry winds started blowing, and then thick dust arose because of these animals and chariots and everything moving. So thunder came through, and then so like this, the both sides prepared for the battle. So listening to this, Dhritarashtra asked, when the sun rose, so when the sunrise happened, the army led by Bhishma and the Pandavas army led by Bhima, which one first cheerfully approached the other? So which one first came to uh, came forward? So which of these sides again had inauspicious things going in their directions? Okay, and which of these uh, had made armies had faces cheerful, and which ones was truly? Tell me all this in detail. So again, Sanjay continues his narration, says, and both armies, when they were arrayed like that, they were very cheerful, very joyful, and eager to attack each other. And both armies looked equally beautiful, and assuming again all aspects of it's like a blossoming woods. Both armies with full of elephants, chariots, and horses. They were fully ready. Both armies were very vast and terrible in aspect, and nobody could, on even individual army, nobody, even devatas, could not face. It was such a terrible army. And Kauravas, belonging to all the Duryodhana and his party, they stood facing west, and while the Pandavas stood facing east. So this is again important. Facing east is where the sun rises. That direction is Pandavas were facing. That is a good sign. And Kauravas, where the sun sets, that means it's a doom. So they were facing like that, and the troops of the Kauravas looked like the army of Danavas, while the Pandavas looked like that of the Devatas. So wind again blew from behind Pandavas and against the face of Kauravas. So all the beasts of prey and jackals and all these things started yelling at Dhritarashtra's side. And the elephants, again belonging to Duryodhana, they could not bear the strong odor and scent that coming from the elephants of Pandavas. Again, when male elephants, they are in rut, they anger, they release the scent, and that was very too strong for and was scaring the elephants on Duryodhana's side. Duryodhana himself, he rode an elephant, which is huge elephant, and it had a golden kaksha on its back, and the armor of steel network, and he had a white umbrella held over him uh, with his on that elephant. And Shakuni, he was followed by Gandhara warriors, and Bhishma himself was at the head of that troops, and white umbrella held over his head. So with he was again armed with bow, sword, with headgear and white banner on his car, the chariot, and with white horses. It looked very beautiful. And then Dhritarashtra, he again, Sanjay continues and he says that when Bhishma, all his divisions were all of Dhritarashtra's, everybody, and also Sala, the countrymen of Balikas, the Kshatriyas from Ambastas, the Sindhus, Sauviras, all these were ready. They were all coming together, and then Drona as well with his bow in his hand. He was remained behind all the troop protecting the Kaurava army. And then Krupacharya as well. He is the fighting from front. He was there, and then uh, along with him, there were Shakas, Kiratas, Yavanas, Pallavas, and then there was also a large force of Vrishnis and Bhojas, Saurashtras, all of them accompanied, led by Kritavarma. So again, Vrishnis, Krishna gave his army to Kauravas, if you remember from Udyoga Parva. So then there were 10,000 Rathis from some Samasaptakas. So these Samasaptakas, they were created for either death or fame of Arjuna. Again, there is a huge section we will come in the, I think in the Drona Parva, we will see of the Samasaptakas. They were created either to kill Arjuna or to increase the fame of Arjuna. Okay, so they had that, their creation was like that. And also there was Trigartas, who again wanted to have this battle with Arjuna, and they were prepared, and they were 1,000 of elephants were in their fighting powers. So all of these arrays were prepared by Bhishma, and then Bhishma again each day, as it dawned, sometimes he disposed troops in human array. So he formed arrays based on his, like ordinary humans, ordinary kings, human kings prepare. Sometimes he prepared arrays like Devatas would prepare, sometimes like Gandharva, sometimes like Asuras, because he knew all the different forms of warfare. Because if anyone remembers, Bhishma, in his early age, whom did he learn all this from? We have to go back to Adi Parva. Anyone remembers?
Parashurama.
Parashurama is one, but before Parashurama, he learned from Brihaspati and then Shukra, right? And then Parashurama, right? So he learned both Devatas warfare from Brihaspati, all the knowledge, Shukracharya from the Asuras, whatever they do, and Parashurama as well. So he learned all those things, right? So Bhishma was aware of everything. So like that, they prepared. See the army, the limited army. So again, the army, both sides look terrible, but the army of Pandavas, even though it is not much in number, yet it seemed to be very large and invincible because there was Krishna and Arjuna in that army. So Sanjay says that even though it's small, it looked like a one that's not going to be defeated. So seeing that vast army of leaders ready for battle, Yudhistira gave away. He became very sad, and seeing that, and also he gave up to grief. So he says that seeing that army array formed by Bhishma, regarding which that looked like impenetrable. So that's very difficult to do anything with that, such a thing. He looks at Arjuna and he says that how shall we able to fight that Duryodhana and Bhishma's army when they have Bhishma himself as their chief, and that is immovable, that's impenetrable, that army, that vyuha that he is preparing. How can we uh, do that? Because according to the rules laid down in the Shastras, so Bhishma is aware of everything, and with our troops, we have become doubtful of success. So Yudhishthira becomes very doubtful of success because he is facing Bhishma, who knows all types of warfare, right? So whether devatas, asuras, gandharvas, or human or rakshasas, he knows everything. So how can we face, and it becomes our success is very doubtful because of Bhishma. So when he says that, Arjuna says that uh, I will tell you here what I'm going to say, because how a fewer number of soldiers can defeat a larger army. I'll tell you this because you are without any malice. So again, if you are going to misuse what I'm going to tell, the knowledge or the information I'm going to share with you, I would not have told you. But because you are without malice, I'm going to tell you this. Rishi Narada knows about how to defeat a larger army with a fewer number. And also Bhishma knows this, and Drona as well knows. So on the other side, there are two people who knows this. Okay, on this side, Arjuna is saying, I know this. Okay, because I learned this from Indra. So, and they again, he says that the one that are desires of victory do not conquer just by their strength, might, and energy, but also by truth, compassion, righteousness, and their energy. So he says that just having large army is not going to give the victory, but it is the truth, compassion, and dharma. That's what going to get the victory. Again, discriminating between dharma and adharma, and understanding what is meant by covetousness, and having recourse to exertion fight without arrogance. So that's where one should do, because one should fight without arrogance and without any covetousness, and looking at what is dharma and adharma, one should fight, because victory will come where there is dharma. So Arjuna's message is, don't worry, even though they have the army, we will fight as per the dharma, and that's what we will win. And again, he says that for us, the victory is definitely certain. There is no doubt about the victory, because Narada has said that previously, there will be victory where there is Krishna. And victory is something that inherent to Krishna. It's always with him. It always follows Krishna. Madhava, the Jaya is always follows Madhava. So that's why there is no difference. So victory is one of his attributes, and also humility is another his attribute. So wherever this Govinda is possessed of energy that is infinite, and even in the middle of immeasurable enemies, he is without any pain. So even though so many people are here, he is without any pain, and he is most eternal male being. So he is the Paramatma, he is the creator himself, and that's why the victory is where Krishna is. So even he, the indestructible and weapons of incapable, that's he cannot baffle anything. So that weapons cannot do anything. Again, Gita, we looked at this in detail, right? So Atma Vastu cannot be destroyed, and cannot be, weapons cannot cut Naina Chindanti. So we looked at all those things. So weapons cannot baffle that Hari. Again, in the olden days, devatas and asuras, when they were fighting, when the battle was happening, uh, Vishnu asked at that time, saying, "Who among you is going to be victorious?" And devatas, after winning, they said that with Krishna in front, we will conquer. So they say that with you in front, our sides, they told again, Krishna here is Vishnu. Okay, so where Vishnu is on our side, we will conquer. So it was through Vishnu's Hari's grace that Indra attained his place, his sovereign and his kingdom, his devatas rule over the devatas. So that's why where Krishna is, don't worry, even the devatas cannot have a battle with him. So Arjuna gives assurance to Yudhistira, who was thinking that how we are going to face Bhishma in this battle. He says that we have Krishna and we have Dharma on our side. So Dharma himself is Krishna, right? So he says that, and so then again, Yudhishthira uh, urges his troops to form that array which Arjuna said, and the Pandavas uh, prepare for that, and he tells them that uh, fight fairly, desires of encountering the heaven at highest. So again, he asks all his army people, everyone to fight fairly. So not doing anything, going performing any adharma, any not breaking the rules. That's as per the warfare that rules that's there. So again, in that Pandava army, at the center there was Shikandini, who was protected by Arjuna. Drishtadyumna moved at the front, was protected by Bhima, and on the southern divisions of Pandava army was protected by Satyaki. So Yudhishthira again was stationed like Indra himself, he was stationed in the middle, and he was protected with large number of elephants division, and he was protected his pure white umbrella with ivory handle raised above his head. It was looking very beautiful. Many rishis came there, and they all praised him and gave his blessings. And many rishis, siddhas, they uttered many hymns and in his praise and wished him, and they walked around and blessed him. And for the destruction of his enemy, Yudhishthira's enemy, they chanted with their aid of japas, mantras, and things like that. They did the ceremonies that was supposed to that would destroy the enemies, Yudhishthira's enemies. So all those rishis and siddhas, they performed that. Then the Yudhishthira gave them all the gifts and everything. So Brahmanas, for all those Brahmanas that blessed him, he gave them cows and fruits and flowers and gold coins and all these things, clothes and everything, like Indra would do. Uh, so he gave all that. So again, in that army, whenever was preparing in Arjuna's chariot, which is furnished with 100 bells and decked with Jambunada gold. Again, we looked at Jambunada gold in the previous Bhumi Parva, right? So in this Bhishma Parva, it was earlier, we looked at Jambunada gold. So with that gold, prepared excellent chariot in that chariot on that ape bannered, on that wanderer bannered chariot. Reins were held by Krishna himself, and stood Arjuna holding his Gandiva. He was prepared, and he was prepared for this battle. So for crushing Duryodhana and everybody, Bhima was prepared with he was ready to crush everybody with his bare hands. He was ready to make everything dust, elephants, horses, and people who were come in front of him. He was ready to crush all of them. With his bare hands, he was ready to crush them. So Bhima was very angry, and he was prepared. So like this, they were preparing for that. So then Krishna addresses Arjuna, and he tells him that the one who is with his anger stays in the middle of his force, and the one who will attack the troops like a lion, the one who has performed 300 horse sacrifices, that banner of Kuru race, Bhishma, he stays there in front of you. So slaying everybody, you prepare for a battle with him. So Krishna urges Arjuna to focus on Bhishma, nothing else but Bhishma. So then Arjuna, Sanjaya says that seeing Dhritarashtra army approach for the fight, Krishna tells Arjuna, he says that purifying yourself, utter on the eve of battle the hymns of Durga, and for the defeat of your enemies. Again, Sanjaya narrates this when all the morning sunrise happened and everybody prepared their arrays and everything. But Krishna has said this on the eve of the battle, right? So it happened on the previous day. Okay. So Arjuna prepares himself. So when he says Krishna as per Krishna's advice, Arjuna prepares himself for that prayer. So Arjuna says that starts praying Durga in this. So here Arjuna says, Avathirya Rathat Partha Stotram Aha Kritanjali. Om Namaste Siddha Senani Arye Mandara Vanavasini Kumari Kali Kapali Kapile Krishna Pingale Bhadrakali Namastubhyam Mahakali Namostude Chandi Chande Namastubhyam Tarini Varavarnini Katyayini Mahabhage Karali Vijay Jaye ಶಿಖಿಪಿಚ್ಚ ಧ್ವಜಧರೆ ನಾನಾಭರಣ ಶೋಭಿದೆ ನಾನಾಭರಣ ಭೂಷಿದೆ ಅಟ್ಟಶೂಲ ಪ್ರಹರಣೆ ಖಡ್ಗ ಖೇಡಕ ಧಾರಿಣೆ ಗೋಪೇಂದ್ರ ಸ್ಯಾನುಜೆ ಜ್ಯೇಷ್ಠೆ ನಂದಗೋಪಕುಲೋದ್ಭವೆ ಮಹಿಷಾಸೃಪ್ರಿಯೆ ನಿತ್ಯಂ ಕೌಶಿಕಿ ಪೀತವಾಸನೆ ಅಟ್ಟಹಾಸೆ ಕೋಕಮುಖೆ ನಮಸ್ತೆಸ್ತು ರಣಪ್ರಿಯೆ ಉಮೇ ಉಮೇ ಶಾಕಂಬರಿ ಶ್ವೇತೆ ಕೃಷ್ಣೆ ಕೈಟಭ ನಾಶಿನಿ ಹಿರಣ್ಯಾಕ್ಷಿ ವಿರೂಪಾಕ್ಷಿ ಸುಧೂಮ್ರಾಕ್ಷಿ ನಮೋಸ್ತುತೆ ವೇದಶ್ರುತಿ ಮಹಾಪುಣ್ಯೆ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಣ್ಯೆ ಜಾತವೇದಸಿ ಜಂಬೂ ಕಟ ಕಚೈತೇಷು ನಿತ್ಯಂ ಸನ್ನಿಹಿತಾಲಯೇ ತ್ವಂ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮವಿದ್ಯಾ ವಿದ್ಯಾನಾಂ ಮಹಾನಿದ್ರಾ ಚ ದೇಹಿನಾಂ ಸ್ಕಂದಮಾತರ್ಭಗವತಿ ದುರ್ಗೆ ಕಾಂತಾರವಾಸಿನಿ ಸ್ವಾಹಾಕಾರ ಸುಧಾ ಚೈವ ಕಲಾಕಾಷ್ಟ ಸರಸ್ವತಿ ಸಾವಿತ್ರಿ ವೇದಮಾತಾ ಚ ತಥಾ ವೇದಾಂತ ಉಚ್ಯತೆ ಸ್ತುತಾಸಿ ತ್ವಂ ಮಹಾದೇವಿ ವಿಶುದ್ಧೇನಾಂತರಾತ್ಮನಾ ಜಯೋ ಭವತು ಮೇ ನಿತ್ಯಂ ತತ್ಪ್ರದಾಸಾದ್ರಣೆ ಕಾಂತಾರ ಭಯ ದುರ್ಗೇಶು ಭಕ್ತಾನಾಂ ಚಾಲಯೇಷು ಚ ನಿತ್ಯಂ ವಸತಿ ಪಾತಾಲೆ ಯುದ್ಧೇ ಚೇಸಿ ಧಾನವಾನ್ ತ್ವಂ ಜಂಬನಿ ಮೋಹಿನಿ ಚ ಮಾಯಾ ಶ್ರೀಸ್ತಥೈವ ಚ ಸಂಧ್ಯಾ ಪ್ರಭವತಿ ಚೈವ ಸಾವಿತ್ರಿ ಜನನಿ ತಥಾ ತುಷ್ಟಿಪುಷ್ಟಿರ್ ಧೃತಿರ್ದೀಪ್ತಿ ಚಂದ್ರಾದಿತ್ಯ ವಿವರ್ಧಿನಿ ಭೂತಿರ್ಭೂತಿಮತಾಂ ಸಂಖ್ಯೆ ವೀಕ್ಷಸೆ ಸಿದ್ಧಚಾರಿಣ್ಯೆ. So like this, Arjuna praises Devi, and then Devi comes in front of him, and then understanding his wish, Devi says that within a short time you will conquer your enemies, and you are the invincible one because you have Narayana aiding, supporting you, and you are incapable of being defeated by the enemies. Even Indra himself cannot defeat. So blessing him like that, Durga disappears from there. Then Arjuna, obtaining that boon, regarded himself as successful in this battlefield, and then he mounts his chariot, and then Krishna Arjuna, seated on the same chariot, they blew their conch shells. So Sanjaya concludes, Edam patet stotram kalya uttaya manavah यक्षरक्ष पिशाचोभ्य नभयं विद्यते सदा न चापि रिपवस्तेभ्य सर्पाध्या ये च दंष्टुना नभयं विद्यते तस्य सदा राजकुलात् अपि विवादे जयम् आप्नोति बद्धो मुच्यति बन्धनात् दुर्गं तरति चावश्यं तथा चोरैर्विमुच्यते संग्रामे विजयन् नित्यं लक्ष्मी प्राप्नोति केवलान् आरोग्य बलसम्पन्नो जीवेत् वर्षशतं तथा. So like this, anyone who chanting this, they will be freed from yaksha, rakshasa, pishacha, from all these fears, and also enemies' fears. They will not have any fear of snake animals and any poisonous deaths and things like that. They will not have, and also fear from kings. They will be victorious in all the disputes, and if bound, he is freed from his bond. So if he has any bonds, and that bonds will be freed from that, and he will get over from all the difficulties, freed from all the thieves, and he will be victorious in the battlefields and wins goddess Durga's prosperity and everything, health, strength, and everything. He will live for 100 years. Like this, Sanjaya concludes saying that this is the auspicious hymns, that prayer that Arjuna offered, and one who chants this will benefit from all this. So again, Durga's prayers ahead of any battle or enemies, destruction and thieves, protecting from thieves and good health. For everything, Durga's prayer is very auspicious. So like this, Durga's prayer is, again, this is the second time we come across Durga's prayer. If you remember, once and just before the Virata war as well, we have come across, right? So we'll stop there. We'll continue the Bhishma Parva next time when we gather. Any questions?